I didn't know quite what to expect when I went to revisit Chihayafuru almost 4 years after my initial viewing. I recalled thoroughly enjoying it on an experiential level, with its delightful art and inspiring soundtrack. I remember loving the cast, and I definitely remember appreciating its thematic exploration of talent versus skill. However, I was lacking in recollection when it came to the minutiae, though I had a feeling there was definitely a lot of subtleties that were slipping my mind. My suspicions were confirmed, and in fact far exceeded, when I found myself tearing up at almost every episode, the show now resonating with me on a much deeper level than before. I am definitely a different person than I was 4 years ago, at the very least in my understanding of myself, and my relationship with and appreciation for Chihayafuru has changed a lot because of that. Most would consider Chihaya the main character, and while she definitely is the focal point, a pretty significant portion of the series revolves around her influence on others from their point of view, rather than being solely positioned within her perspective. As a result, I found myself most strongly connecting with Mashima Taichi, and his struggle is one that resonated with me on a deeply personal level. Where our other narrative focal points, Chihaya and Arata, possess an inherent skill and love for Karuta, Taichi feels unable to come close. He is skilled academically, due largely to pressure from his mother, but believes success in Karuta is beyond his inherent abilities. I've always grappled with a seeming inability to give my all to anything, to really put in my 100% and beyond. In the past, I would have chalked this failing up to circumstance. I've always been interested in many different creative pathways. I want to play music, to write music, to draw, to animate, to make videos just like this one, and do even more beyond that. And my difficulty in securing a singular vision has always been what I blamed my inability to give anything the fullest extent of my capabilities. However, with self-reflection and a bit more maturity, I've come to realize that this old line of reasoning is flawed, and honestly is nothing more than an excuse. I didn't understand this then, as this recognition is a fairly recent one, further punctuated by my experience with revisiting Chihayafuru, but I've been using this excuse to avoid thinking deeper, and the reason for that is because, well, I'm afraid. If you don't try, you can't fail. You can always think, well, I could have done it, I just chose not to. Or you can call it luck and say, well, they were just born with something special. But what if you put in everything? You really give it your all, your very best shot, and you still fail? What if it really is impossible? To be frank, the thought terrifies me. Still, I feel this line of thinking interrupted when I recall Harada's words to Taichi. To put it shortly, don't say that until you've really tried. It's interesting that my second viewing of the show comes at such a good timing, after I made a similar dedication myself. A determination to give giving a shot, a real shot. To try my best to try my best. You can't win without risk of failure, without lots of missteps along the way, but that just makes giving it everything all the more worth it, all the more necessary. Watching Taichi put his all in, even as he seems at a great disadvantage, struck a great chord with me. To take a risk on something without guaranteed success. For Taichi, it's not just about winning Karuta, it's about changing himself, being better, being stronger. I have a similar desire, to no longer say, I want, or I wish, and firmly proclaim, I will. It feels strange to finally put these thoughts into words, especially in how they describe an issue I've avoided for so long. All the times I've sat there, sad and unhappy, feeling directionless, to accept it as my own failings is pretty difficult. But again, thinking of Taichi, I feel accepting my cowardice is an important step in moving forward, and I'm determined to use this determination to propel me towards grabbing hold of my goals. path fraught with uncertainty. Where will I go? What will I be? How will I begin to define me? Trouble